And this video is in response to being tagged by Storm of Steel Wargaming, and it's one of the continuing "Why am I a Wargamer?" So there's 3 questions. So how did I get into wargaming? The second question is, how did I start, or why did I start the YouTube channel, The Eccentric Man? And thirdly, what advice I would give to people who are starting up their own channels. Well, let's have a look. First, when did I start wargaming? Probably as everyone did of my sort of era, is I started playing with Airfix miniatures, the plastic figures. And that was back in 1966 to 67, when I was about 6 years old. So that's when I started and had loads of little plastic figures up for years and years. And then I sort of lost sight of it, of gaming, when you get to that certain age and you're out doing sport and you're doing music and everything like that, in your teens. However, I started a little game of Tobruk from Avalon Hill. I started working at an adventure playground, and the play leader was a teacher, history teacher, and he asked, did I fancy having a game, war game? And it was a board game, and I really enjoyed it. And I've still got that game from all those years back, because I bought it a couple of years after playing it. And that was my introduction into wargaming. And that sort of, I went on, I suppose, just every now and then an odd game. But off to college I was at that time, so again, my hobbies of motorbiking and college took over. And it wasn't until I came back to my hometown where I started looking at war game books in the library. For some strange reason, I found the section of war game books, probably because I was looking in history, and I found the war game section and got a couple of books out, and I met somebody else who was into those books, a guy called Kevin Day, and you may know him now as Lancer Miniatures, but he was my first tabletop wargaming opponent, and I got my first figures from the guard room in Dunstable, and they were the old Mike models, 15mm, and they were Spartans and hoplites, and that's got me started. And I think, oh God, that must have been somewhere around 1981. Must have been around about that sort of time. Because I'd moved back from London and college and started working in Welling Garden City. So that got me started, and that was probably the main catalyst, was finding these wargaming books in the library. Yeah, that was it. And then, as they say, that is history. And I've played a lot of historical wargaming from that time, and it was mostly the WRG Ancients and Renaissance period, and then we dabbled with DBA and DBM, and then I got hooked into Warhammer Fantasy, and I played Warhammer Fantasy for many a year, and quite competitively. We used to go off to tournaments, and also off to Warhammer World for their weekend events, and that was quite good fun. But then they pulled the plug on Warhammer Fantasy with the end times, and that really opened my mind back up to historical games, and things have changed quite significantly over the years, and now I'm enjoying historical, and we're looking to start dabbling back into a bit of fantasy, but with Oathmark by Osprey Games. So we're going to have a little look at that and have some fantasy gaming. So that's sort of where my wargaming history came from, and where I am sort of now. So what's next? Second question, how did I start up a YouTube channel? Well, I sort of retired and I was medically retired from the police, so I bought myself an iPad with some money that I had, and it was at the time I was still playing a bit of Warhammer, and what got me making the channel was the videos that I was watching by some of the big YouTubers who were out and about at that time. So you had Lord Tremendous, what was it, Once Bitten 360, Mr. Malorian. So I used to watch their videos, and I thought, yeah, I could do that with my iPad, and people might like the game. So I did a few battles because it was right close to the end times. Did a few Warhammer Fantasy battles, and then moved on to a new game system. And I'd seen it on the internet once or twice, and then looking around for a game to replace Warhammer Fantasy, I found Bolt Action, and I really loved the game Bolt Action. The mechanics with the dice pulled from the bag, a quick, relatively easy gameplay, but really enjoyable. Lots of history to look at, lots of units to think about, paint up, and that was it. And hooked into Bolt Action, and for the sort of the first couple of years, 2 to 3 years, the channel was mostly Bolt Action battle reports and some reviews of the Warlord figures and some unboxing of different buildings and things. So some of that. And then I sort of over the last year and a half spread out a little bit more now into other game systems. So as you've probably seen, we've dabbled with Rebels and Patriots. We've done The Men Who Would Be Kings. We've done Sharp's Practice, a little game of that. We've had a little go at Chain of Command. We've done Infamy, the new one from Two Fat Lardies, and there's going to be more of that coming up. And we did Muskets and Tomahawks, and that was good fun. And the second edition, and we've just done just at the beginning of the lockdown, we started playing that. So we're going to have to get back into that. And then what else have we looked at? Oh yes, Congo. Love that game. It's been real good fun painting up the figures and having a good few games of that. So yeah, that's where we are at the moment, and that's how I got into making YouTube videos. Yep, like the ones that I saw, and I thought, oh, I think people might like that, and so started making my own videos, and fortunately people did like them. So we're up to 2,200 subscribers now, so thank you very much to everybody who's subscribed and who watches the videos and likes and comments. It's really nice to know that you're enjoying them still. So where do we go? Yeah, oh yeah, that's question 1 and 2 finished. Question 3, what advice would I give to somebody? It's an interesting one, YouTube. It's what do you want to get out of it, or the reason why you are making it. And for me, my decision was to make videos of the games that I like, hoping that people would like them, be interested in them, would like the same sort of things that I've been doing, the game systems, the miniatures, the painting, and that was really it, just to share my like of the hobby, or love of the hobby, be it the armies, the painting, and the playing the games, which is different to perhaps other people who are looking to do a channel which is branded and perhaps finances some of their hobby. And I think that within YouTube you have to start thinking of that. I'm fortunate in the way that I can buy figures and game systems. I can't spend what I would like to, because obviously there is a budget that we have. But I've not wanted my channel to go down the route of being financed, because I feel it sort of puts add additional pressure on you. And that's the key thing that I've come around to, is that if you are doing a paid channel, by that I mean sort of Patreon, where people chip in every month, they do deserve to have content regularly and good quality. And if you go that route, you've got to commit to it. Whereas with my channel, there's no financial pressure to produce them. It's just that I like to do it, and there's people who watch them. So that keeps me motivated, but sometimes life gets in the way. So I don't feel I'm letting people down who have a financial support of my hobby and my channel. So I think for people, when you set out on your channel, is to think about what you want to do, why you want to do it, and if you want to grow your channel for revenue. And again, I've not gone down the route of looking for support from companies to sponsor, because for me that feels like I'm sort of beholden to them, and I'd rather just do this without those ties. So if people produce figures that aren't good quality, I can call it out. If they produce buildings that aren't 28mm, but they say it's suitable for, or it is 28mm and they're not, then obviously it needs to be brought to people's attention so they can make their decision on whether they're going to buy these things or not. So that was sort of my intention for the channel, that I'm not beholden to anyone. Saying that, I do get the odd free thing that comes through for review, and I'm fortunate in the position where I can actually then give a proper review of it, whether I like it, whether I think it's good quality, and whether it's worthwhile for other people buying it. So yeah, I get the odd one of those, but other than that, all my hobby is self-financed. I did have some support for my new iPad, which was from the subscribers who signed up and bought a coffee, which was really nice of people to do that. So thank you very much for all those who added into the coffers for that, because they are quite an expensive thing to replace. So I've rambled on quite a lot there. So yeah, how I got into the hobby, why I make the battle reports, and some sort of rambly advice onto why new YouTube creators need to think about what their channel is for, the purpose of it, because that tends to then drive how you operate, and the pressure that you put upon yourself to create content, and that is a big thing for video YouTubers, the content. Now, who can I ask or tag to carry on with why I'm a Wargamer? So I've got two people in mind, and hopefully they haven't done this before. One is Sonic Sledgehammer. Some of you may know him from Twitter or from his YouTube channel. An excellent painter and very well worth a watch. The second person is Travis from Tabletop CP. We sort of started off the channels together, and there was a couple of messages between us asking each other different things about rules and games that we were playing. And I look at him now as a friend from across the channel, across the sea, on his channel, which he does some really good work on chain of command and bolt action. So those are the two tags, and I'll let them know that I've called them to tell us why they are Wargamers, and to answer the three questions: why they're a Wargamer, what got them to start their channel, and what advice they would give. So, over to them. Anyway, hope that was entertaining, and I have not rambled too much. What's on? I better do an update video actually. because I've done lots of different things and I've got a few things completed, so I need to get them out and about and to give an overview of what I'm still working on. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, and leave a comment below, as I always try to answer all the comments that get written down. Anyway, thank you very much.